The first year, the very first year, in terms of some of the random stuff that's gone on, and some of the, I think the effort that not just we've made, but I think people coming to the event have made. One of the best examples of that is Andy Cato, who was flying with I can't remember who it was. I think it was British Airways, but basically his flight was delayed. He missed his connecting flight at Nairobi. Then he got flown to South Africa. He hadn't got a yellow fever injection, so he couldn't leave the airport. Had to spend the night there. Then he managed to get a flight all the way up to Malawi, and again we had to organise a small plane for him to get onto. But it was supposed to take a day for him to get there. It took him 4 days, and 3 different African countries, and all along the way you could just see his energy just dropping and his enthusiasm just waning, and we just about managed to talk him round to not just getting a ticket and going back and giving up. So he stuck with it, and I mean all the UK acts all performed for free, so he gave up 4 days pretty much of travelling, came out, did 2 sets, did a midnight set and then a sunrise set, and then left I think the next day, because that was when he was supposed to be leaving anyway. So that was a whole mission. And seeing where he landed, they landed on a football pitch that had a full-on game going on, and there was just this tiny plane landing, and Andy Cato getting out, who's whatever 6 foot something, towering over all these kids been playing football. And then him just going on and just being really cool about the whole thing and playing a brilliant set. So that was a good one. The other thing was, let's say, trying to get a helicopter from the Ministry of Defence, which we might get at some point in the future. They're keen to get involved. It would be good to get the aerial, to film the site from up above, but also it would be quite cool to land equipment actually on the festival as well. Oh no, we had a freak storm. Yeah, that was a near disaster. It was 2005. Basically, you've got the rainy season in Malawi is January till about April, May, and then it's supposedly bone dry from after that until December time again. And this one year, everything would be going great, blue sky, not a cloud around. And I think we'd started winding down. The main stage had closed and everything. We'd gone to the beach bar stage, which stays open a little bit later. And it was freaky. This one dark cloud just came over and almost just sat above the main stage and just poured down for about 2 hours. And we had to just run and cover up all the equipment, because everything's left out on the main stage. So all the speakers, the DJ equipment almost got soaking wet. But we covered it all up. The difference for Lake of Stars is where it happens. The fact it's in somewhere like Malawi, so getting stunning location, being on the shores of Lake Malawi, but also an amazing country. It's amazing people that you meet out there. It's that whole experience, that whole sense of adventure. I think that makes it work. I think it's also the programming. I think it's the combination of African and UK artists, and it's not always the usual artists. I mean, we book artists really from the UK who no one's ever heard of in Malawi, and I mean certainly last year we took a big gamble taking the Maccabees out there, and I thought it was a good idea. But I remember just before they went on stage, they started telling me about how nervous they were, and they weren't going to play any reggae or Afro pop. They were just going to do their thing. I was thinking, actually, is this a mistake? But it went on and absolutely smashed it, because it was so different to anything else that a lot of the Malawi crowd had heard. So there was even a Malawi hip hop group who were at the front of the stage just going, "We've never heard guitars sing like this before." So it's taken bands like that over. I mean, in the future, there's people like Vampire Weekend. We want to see if we get those guys involved. Yesayer, people like that as well. So it's about taking a lot of new, I think, British bands out there and exposing them to African music and getting the African bands as well to meet these artists. But then I think it is also just the development angle as well. I mean, we have volunteers from Malawi and UK who run it, everything from the sound engineers to security managers, and each set of teams that sort of learn off each other. So there's development from that side. There's the economic development. So every year the festivals happen, it's around £100,000 that's pumped into the economy from all the tourists that come over for it. There's all the media exposure that happens as well, and the positive coverage that Malawi gets. And then I think it's almost a sort of it's looking at Malawi and as a, you know, it's a new territory, certainly on a sort of musical or art sort of front. And then you start looking at Africa and you start looking at how many bands and artists don't ever go and perform there, and what could happen if they did. And it's I mean, I think it could be as an opportunity for festivals like this to be springing up all over Africa to encourage tourism, and to create almost like cultural ambassadors for some of these guys who come out, and then what they go back and what they say about their experience. And so it's not about Cheryl Cole and who was it, Chris Moyles climbing Kilimanjaro, but it could be about something like Girls Aloud performing in Nairobi, something really, really different. And it's about, I think, almost asking artists to do what they do, but just go and do it somewhere like Malawi. So it's I guess it's a slightly different approach to development, but it's one which I think that can work. That's what sets it apart.